Survival is a brutal, bloody business. But what happens when the fight for your life is over and the fight for your kingdom begins? Welcome back to Obitraes. If you're watching this, you've already survived the Kajari. You know the devastating truth that shattered Oraya's world at the end of The Serpent and the Wings of Night. You know that Raihn, the vampire she bled with, fought for, and fell for, was the secretly turned heir of the Rishan clan. You know that he struck down King Vincent. And you know that he used his ultimate God-given wish to bring Oraya back from the dead. We enter the ashes and the star-cursed king. We are no longer confined to the deadly trials of the Moon Palace. Instead, we are thrust into the treacherous, venomous world of vampire politics. Buckle up. For thousands of years, this kingdom has been locked in a perpetual, bloody tug-of-war between two distinct clans, the Rishan, who bear feathered wings, and the Hiaj, who bear featherless, bat-like wings. For 2 centuries, King Vincent's Hiaj clan ruled with an iron, unforgiving fist. Now, Raihn has reclaimed the throne for the Rishan. But taking a kingdom and holding it are 2 very different things. Raihn is heavily prejudiced against by the old Rishan nobility. Why? Because Raihn is a turned vampire. In vampire society, those born as vampires view themselves as inherently superior. To be turned, a human bitten, drained, and fed vampire blood to transform, is often seen as a lesser existence. Turned vampires are frequently treated as slaves, property, or second-class citizens. Raihn endured 70 years of horrific abuse as a slave to the former Rishan king, Nikulai. Now, the surviving Rishan nobles, like the dangerously entitled Simon Vassaris, refuse to bow to a king they once viewed as livestock. Because Raihn's own people are rebelling against him, he is forced to rely on the House of Blood. Led by the calculating, ever-smoking Prince Septimus, the Bloodborne have brought their brutal armies to help Raihn maintain order. But the Bloodborne are not here out of the goodness of their hearts. They are a cursed, dying people, desperate for a cure to their agonizingly short lifespans. And Septimus believes the House of Night holds a secret, ancient magic that can save them. Meanwhile, the remnants of the Hiaj forces have scattered, licking their wounds and plotting a rebellion of their own. Caught in the center of this multi-front civil war are the humans. Always the victims, always the prey. Let's talk about magic. In the Crowns of Nyaxia series, magic is not just a tool. It is a living, breathing extension of the soul. It is intrinsically tied to a wielder's emotions, their trauma, and their bloodline. The House of Night relies on 2 primary forms of star-derived magic. Most wield Nightfire, a blazing, scorching, white-hot flame that requires immense control and is fueled by rage and survival instinct. Some wield Asteris, a dark, cold magic that pulls from the shadows and the stars, devastating in its concussive force. But the true right to rule is tied to the heir mark. When an heir to either clan claims their God-given power, a permanent, magical tattoo appears on their flesh, glowing with red smoke and the phases of the moon. In this book, we learn exactly what it means to bear this mark. It isn't just a symbol. It actively enhances the wielder's physical strength and magical capacity to terrifying levels. We must also look to the gods. You know Nyaxia, the mother of vampires. But before she created them, she was a lesser goddess who fell in love with Asteris, the god of death. For their forbidden love, the 12 gods of the White Pantheon murdered Asteris. In her grief and rage, Nyaxia created the vampires to be her eternal, bloodthirsty warriors. In The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, the lore expands heavily into the ancient history of these gods. We learn about the White Pantheon, specifically Asteris, the goddess of the unknown and the weaver of fates. Unlike the other gods, Asteris is known to occasionally grant her magic to human seers. And then there is the Coriatis bond, a rare, legendary soul bond that can only be forged by a god. It weaves the hearts, lives, and powers of two people together perfectly. To be Coriati is to share everything, meaning one cannot survive without the other. It is the ultimate vulnerability in a world that views love as a fatal weakness. At the center of this tempest is Oraya. She spent 20 years believing she was a fragile human who had to carve herself into a weapon just to survive. Now she knows the truth. She is half vampire. She is Vincent's true biological daughter and the rightful heir of the Hiaj. In this book, Oraya's journey is one of unlearning. She must unlearn her father's lies, navigate the confusing new instincts of her half-vampire body, and reconcile her deep love for Vincent with the monstrous things he did. Opposite her is Raihn. He finally has the crown he fought so hard for, but he hates everything it represents. Raihn is a deeply empathetic man, forced to wear the mask of a ruthless tyrant to keep his enemies at bay. He loves Oraya with a devotion that borders on madness, but he knows he broke her heart to save her life. His internal battle is choosing between the man he wants to be and the monster the House of Night requires him to be. The supporting cast expands brilliantly in this installment. We see more of Mische, Raihn's fiercely loyal, sun-loving best friend. Mische is a former human priestess who was turned against her will, and beneath her bubbly exterior lies deep trauma and mysterious burn scars she hides beneath long gloves. We also follow Vale, Raihn's head of war, a true, old-blooded Rishan noble who struggles to unlearn centuries of prejudice, especially after turning a human woman to be his wife. And on the opposing side, we have Septimus, the blood-born prince whose charming smiles hide a terrifying, desperate agenda. And Jesmine, Vincent's former head of war. The aesthetic of Book 2 shifts from the claustrophobic dread of the Kajari to the grand, sweeping melancholy of a fallen empire. We spend much of our time in the Nightborn castle in Sivrinaj. Once Oraya's sanctuary, it is now her gilded cage. The halls are eerily quiet, filled with hidden passageways built by a paranoid king, and echoing with the ghosts of Oraya's past. Beyond the castle walls lie the human districts of Sivrinaj, a place of squalor and desperation, but also a place where Oraya once found her only true sense of purpose. Returning here forces both Oraya and Raihn to confront what it actually means to protect the weak in a society designed to consume them. But the most vital new location is Lahor. Located on the far eastern tip of Obitraes, surrounded by treacherous waters and roaming demons, Lahor is Vincent's ancestral homeland. Once a beautiful city of marble and ivory, it was reduced to ruins by Vincent himself centuries ago. It is a place of rotting weeds, dark secrets, and ancient magic. The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King is not just a story about a war for a throne. It is a story about the agonizing process of healing. The board is set, the pieces are moving, and the House of Night will never be the same. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, bless your algorithm with a like and subscribe. See you next time.